What is up, IDP Army, fantasy football fanatics of all shapes and sizes? It is your man Jordan Reigns at 50 Shades of Drunk. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, this is the IDP Army channel. We are going to do the Week 10. I can't believe I'm saying that. Week 10 IDP waiver wire targets for fantasy football. Get you guys ready to go into Week 10. Had a great week of NFL football this last week. We had some guys kind of show their worth in Dynasty, which was kind of interesting. We saw some interesting conversations happening. So stick around. It's going to be a good show. We're going to talk about like I said, the Week 10 IDP waiver wire targets, and then we will get you guys out of here. As always, we want to thank the Patreons. Thank you to everyone who does subscribe to our Patreon. You keep the lights on around here. We are on the up and up. We, like I said, have added the new podcast, the Best Ball Fantasy Sports Show. We also have the Dynasty Tailgate, which is covering the NFL Draft, which is covering all of the incoming rookies for Dynasty. So go check that out. We are a Dynasty focus. We are an IDP focus. We are a Best Ball focused fantasy football channel, show, brand, whatever you want to call it. We're happy to have you here. And thank you to the Patreons, those of you who are actually riding and dying with us. We appreciate you all, and everybody else. You can throw us a like, throw us a 5-star rating and review, subscribe to the channel. We good. All right. Everybody does their part. It takes a village. It takes an army. Okay. From the big to the small, everybody matters. We got to go win. So let's talk about it. Okay. Let's talk about it. Justin Fields had a massive game yesterday. The most rushing yards ever by a quarterback. They said with I think it ever, 176 yards, 178 yards, something like that. And he looks good. He looks like Lamar Jackson did his MVP year. But honestly, in my opinion, he's more athletic than Lamar Jackson. He just looks like there's just something about him. I don't know. I mean, and he's being very efficient with his passing, targeting his tight end a lot, leaning into that. They came close to winning that game. You know what I mean? And that was against Miami. They're no slouches. They are not. They kept the foot on the gas, and Chicago kept up. I don't think that can be undervalued, underscored. Both those guys, Tua and Justin Fields, for me, are top 12 dynasty quarterbacks, period. They're both young. Justin, for different reasons. Justin Fields, obviously, with his rushing floor, he's going to be the new hotness. And, one of my theories going into this next year is you either have or you don't have a quarterback, and you want to have one of these guys that can run. You want Jalen Hurts, you want Josh Allen, you want Lamar Jackson, you want Justin Fields. Everybody wants Trey Lance. We've seen it happen. Justin Fields proved yesterday that he might be the guy that we should all be wanting right now. Very young, lots of upside, and he's been performing like a fantasy giant over the past 3-4 weeks. Since week 5, I saw my man Jeff Bell tweeted out earlier. Apparently, he's the number 1 quarterback. That's wild, okay? And he's done it without many weapons. So, again, I think he's on the up and up. And then Tua's just proving the haters wrong. Yeah, he's surrounded by weapons, but who isn't going to want to be a weapon in Miami after they just saw what happened this year? I don't think Tua's going to have a problem pulling players down to Miami. I don't think they're going to have a problem drafting. I think Miami's got a really nice future ahead of them overall. And Tua, in my opinion, top 12 dynasty quarterback. The days of these guys like Matt Ryan and Matthew Stafford and these pocket passing quarterbacks like that. I mean, even Kyler Murray, in my opinion, he's just outside that. He's just outside of it for me. Russell Wilson, these guys are not. I mean, it's not 2015 anymore. It's not 2017 anymore either. Not everybody's going to be Tom Brady. You know what I mean? And I say that, look at Aaron Rodgers. Those guys aren't going to be there anymore. So we need to start really looking into these younger guys, Trevor Lawrence, for me, everybody's savior, generational, blah, blah, blah. What is he really? We're in, Zach Wilson. So I'm really happy to say, when I went to look at my rankings to see where I had him, I had him at quarterback 13 before yesterday. I moved him up 1 spot. So, I mean, so I could feel justified. But I was happy to see that, like, even before yesterday's performance, I didn't even see the last time I'd updated my rankings, but I was already kind of on to Justin Fields. I don't like pat myself on the back or anything, but I'm just saying these things may take other people time to catch on to. And there may be other players like this that you can go get and adjust to the narratives quickly. Just adjust, make sure you get these guys on your teams. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So let's go ahead and jump into the week 10 IDP waiver wires. First and foremost, we have bye weeks coming up. Obviously, that's going to be a big part of fantasy going forward. It was a big thing this last week. We got the Baltimore Ravens going on bye. Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, both just got over there. Chuck Clark, guys like that are not going to be in your lineups. Philadelphia Eagles, Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargraves, Darius Slay, those guys are not going to be available to you. And the New York Jets, CJ Mosley, who was injured yesterday, I'm not sure about the extent of the injury, won't be out there. Sauce Gardner beasting out there. Let's give the Jets a round of applause. I mean, they won that game. I mean, like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And you'd be like, people are like, oh yeah, they won that game. Huh? But I mean, like, that's no small feat to beat the Bills. However you got to get it done, but they kept them on their heels the whole game. After that first kind of opening drive, Josh Allen had a rushing touchdown, which was awesome. After that, though, I mean, they were on their heels, and that defense is serious. Those linebackers are mean. Those defensive backs are mean. That line is mean. Quinnen Williams, there's a short on our channel from 4 or 5 months ago. I pointed out he had been an ascending player, and people didn't really notice last year. Like, he was crushing people's souls last year. He goes and gets the scepter this year for angry runs. Jets are on the come up. He's a big part of that. So kudos to them. Again, the NFL is going through a major transition right now. So I think it's important from a dynasty mindset to really, I wouldn't even say we're really ahead of the curve. We're looking at a bell-shaped curve, but I mean, we're still a little ahead. So make these adjustments in your mind for some of these players and start adjusting your values early. Do me a favor, like I said, go down the links below. Make sure you are subscribed to both of our podcast feed, the IDP Army and the Best Ball Fantasy Show. All right, let's just do it. Let's do it fast. All right, this week I'm going to change the format up just a little bit. We're going to go straight in the defensive. We're going to go straight into the waiver wire targets. Damar Hamlin. Huge week for Damar Hamlin again. Okay, he's been on the show the last 2 weeks because he's been playing outstanding. But honestly, he was playing outstanding before that. I just hadn't really noticed that much. 10 tackles this week, or 2 weeks ago. 12 tackles this week, and a sack. And people have been asking about him, like, how do you value him going forward long term? And I kind of think that he's somebody you want, right? I mean, that's kind of my thought process. You just look at these numbers here too. I mean, so consistent at defensive back. 13 since week 3, 13, 15, 15, 14, had the bye, 14, and 29 points this last week. So I did what any person would do. I reached out to a homie who's been on the channel before from over at Cover One. That was Greg Thompson. Shout out to Greg, love him. I said, Greg, give me a soundbite, give me a piece. The people want to know, what do the real Bills fans think about Damar Hamlin? What do the real Bills insiders know? So he said, and I'm just going to read this as a quote for the people listening to the podcast. He said, Damar Hamlin is a prince who was promised to the long reign of King, Poyer, and Hyde's reign in Bills Mafia secondary. He's been fantastic and is a clear starting piece moving forward. So I threw him back, the double heats. That's big. People want to know. Greg knows what's up with the Bills. Okay. Cover One. Shout out to them. They got a great YouTube channel. Follow those guys. They know what's up. So going forward, value Damar Hamlin appropriately. What we see here is a consistent defensive back, on an ascending team defensively. And he's young. Not to say those guys are just going to instantly age out, but they're going to find a way to put him on the field. So maybe we could have a kind of an Antoine Winfield type of player here, a guy that is valued a little lower than he should be, maybe Jeremy Chin type. So if Damar Hamlin is still by chance is still on your waiver wire, like I said, we highlighted him last week. I think we might even highlight him 3 weeks ago. Go get him. Kirby Joseph, this was a safety for the Lions. He had a great game yesterday. Massive game, honestly. He had almost 37 points in IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring. He isn't usually the guy out there playing a whole lot, doing a whole lot, but they had a great game yesterday against Aaron Rodgers. And again, I mean, it's just it's indicative of good things to come, in my opinion. That this secondary had a kind of a good game. 14 points last week, 15 2 weeks ago, 36.9 this week. So since coming back from the bye, he's been pretty hot for you. Somebody to definitely go take a look at. They get Chicago and then the New York Giants coming up. Those could be good games for the defense to maybe get some turnovers in there. Other guys I want to highlight. Oh yeah, Keanu Neal. I keep bringing him up. He's definitely somebody you want to be rostering right now. Last 3 weeks, 13, 12, 16 points. Not like massive point totals, but tackle totals. Last 2 weeks, 10 this week, 8 last week. Get Seattle this upcoming week. Shout out to Kenneth Walker, who's crushing people's souls out there. Shout out to Geno Smith, who's just proven the haters wrong. Then they got a bye coming up. But Keanu Neal, he also has the double linebacker defensive back tag, which is, you don't get that a lot right now in Sleeper if you play on Sleeper. So that can be equitable with bye weeks, slotting guys in and out. Speaking of slotting guys in and out and getting lucky on bye weeks, I'll be honest, another guy that is on this list, where is he at? He's actually right above Keanu Neal here. Derek Barnes had a monster game yesterday and again, this is another player on this, bad defense for Detroit. Derek Barnes, 23 years old, massive game yesterday, 12 tackles, 1 sack, 28 total points. And we got some notes here from Bomber, which if you're in the Ultimate IDP Index, I put a little link to Bomber's notes at the very top of the index. Let me know if that works or not. I should work for everyone that's in there, hopefully. But if not, let me know and I'll get that sorted. But he has a little note in there that says Barnes snap share rocketed from 30% to almost 70% in week 9. We did see Malcolm Rodriguez's snaps go down this week. And he had a monster game. If his usage continues to increase, he'll likely become a weekly starter, especially if he keeps the DL designation. Again, he's one of these guys, dual designation. So yesterday, right before kickoff, because I'm negligent, I'm human, I'm sitting here, with y'all doing the start sit show, and log off. I start setting my lineups, and I'm going through and I'm getting to one of my main teams. It's 5 minutes before kickoff, and my buddy texts me in one of my leagues, and he said, games are about to kick off. He's like, and you have 10 people on bye in your starting lineup. I was like, oh God. So that's the one league I need to get to the fastest. And it was like the one I've been putting off. So I jump over to it, and it's rough in there. Like, I'm using my own waiver wire advice in that league. Thankfully, I picked up Barnes earlier this offseason, but I picked up like some other guys. And anyway, long story short, I had a bunch of guys on buys, picked up a bunch of guys on waivers, so I had to go through. I was putting them in. And the last guy that I had to put into an IDP flex spot, I had Derek Barnes. I think it was Jabril Peppers, and I was looking at him, and I was like, I don't know, what am I gonna do? And I just had a feeling, so I put in Derek Barnes. Big game. I still don't even know if I'm going to win that matchup, but just wanted to say a little feel-good Derek Barnes story, just to go along with the actual feel-good Derek Barnes story that is Derek Barnes. Having a good game, 23 years old. Get him in Dynasty. Like I said, dual tag players. You don't come across those every stinking day. All right, where'd they all go? Oh, gosh, you're going to make me pull everybody up again. I had all this all planned out. Before we go too much further into let's go ahead and just pull this up. Let's finish that's pretty much all the really, really relevant players that I think you're going to, kind of look for. Preston Smith, he'll be a guy you want to get because Rashawn Gary, they did confirm this morning, tore his ACL. So he is going to be out for a while, / rest of the season. Rest up to him. Thankfully, ACLs, they do come back. Guys come back from those pretty to go again. So DJ Reed, still a target. Christian Harris, I actually should have probably put him up a little higher on this list. Another week starting at linebacker, 88%. Next to Christian Kirksey. So you got Christian and Christian. Maybe that's why Houston's winning. Or did they win? I don't even remember. It feels like they did. Only have 5 tackles, but he did have a forced fumble. So you're definitely going to want to keep an eye out for him if you're in a bye week situation or want to pick somebody up. He's somebody to keep an eye out at linebacker. Let's see here. There's a few other notes that Bomber has here that I'll read to you all that are watching / listening to this, just because we love you. And then I'm going to jump into my some other things real quick. But Drew Tranquil, if you're not starting Drew Tranquil every week, what are you doing? That's a very fair question. What are you doing if you're not starting Drew Tranquil? He is a total beast. picking up right where Kaiser White left off last year. And honestly, I guess it's not really going to happen for Kenneth Murray. I mean, last week I kind of talked him up as maybe a pickup player, but let me see where that kind of got us. So, oh yeah, this is another note. And I usually open with injuries, and I didn't really look over the injuries too much today because I knew there was several, and they would just pop up, and they continue to do that. Diablo left yesterday. Divine Diablo for the Raiders left the game early. Left on the cart. I think he only played like 2 or 3 snaps. So Blake Martinez came in, racked up 11 tackles. He looks like a guy that you're going to also, I should probably have put him on the pickup list here, but you definitely want to pick up Blake Martinez. And you should have had him. If you've watched this channel in any capacity, you know I've just gassed up Blake Martinez like ad nauseum, basically. I've kind of chilled off a little bit because he hasn't given me much to gas up, but it's coming again. Here it comes. So go get him. Let me see. Any other big news I want to go over? Big movers. I see we got some questions in the chat, and I'll get sidetracked if I start looking at those now. So give me just one other second to kind of get my thoughts together before I move into that. I got this right here. So, all right, yeah, just make sure you go down into the comments or into the description. Subscribe to our new podcast feed. We're still going to do all 4 of our podcasts on the one feed. Sometimes there'll be crossover, but we're going to try to put primarily the Underdogs, the Best Ball Fantasy Sports Show in the Dynasty Tailgate on the new feed. So go check those out. Okay, now we'll do any questions, and I'll pull those up, and then that'll give me, if I see these other notes I wanted to do, I can do that. All right. Oh, there it is here. Oh man, this is tough. I'll answer this one first since we're still kind of early. Infinite possibilities. Yo, we need an update on how your BDGE team is doing. That was it. That was it. We're dead. Didn't make it. Shout out to Anna. I don't know what her actual username. I won't give you her username on Sleeper, but shout out to Anna. She took me down. She's 5-3 right now, I think, or 5-2. But she had Justin Fields starting in her super flex spot. I had Sam Ellinger starting in my super flex spot. So the rest is history. I mean, honestly, we went blow for blow pretty much across the board from there. But she definitely crushed my soul in that spot. And I had some guys underperform. Everybody did. It was a weird week for fantasy. She didn't Joe Mixon me, thankfully. But she did Justin Fields to me. So shout out to Anna. Took me down one of the last 5-0 teams, one of the last undefeated teams in the Bash. The Green Ranger goes down. Now it's time to complete my metamorphosis or begin my metamorphosis. Well, first I'm calling in the Dragon Zord. All right. And then we're going to metamorphosis into the White Ranger. That's when we win the whole Bash. That's when we move to New York City, baby. All right. So back to fantasy. John Feliciano says, and I hope I'm saying your name right, man. You ask a lot of questions. I don't know if I'm saying it right. All right. Thoughts on trade. Giving up Leonard Fournette for DK Metcalf and Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, do that. My only hiccup is if I give up Fournette, I don't have a back to put in if Taylor can't go. Who cares? I mean, is this Dynasty, though? I'm a little bit, if you're holding Gus Edwards and Akers, I'm assuming it's probably Dynasty. I would definitely do it. If you can move Leonard Fournette for that kind of weight. Maybe it's not, though. Come back at me. Michael T says, great recommendation with Hamlin. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's in reference to hope I recommended it the last couple of weeks and this last week too. The Lions are almost unbeatable because of Dan Campbell. His coaching and squeezing all the juice out of the Lions. I am a Jets fan, but I like what Troy is doing. Yeah, I actually just tweeted out earlier, because I'm always tweeting up a storm. At 50 Shades of Drunk, follow me. I said, I hope when, because I'm a realist, Dan Campbell gets fired from the Lions, which is going to suck. Mike Tomlin, call that motherfucker, okay? We need that man, okay? Steelers organization that he would fit right in. Rougarou, what up, my dude? All right, that linebacker Jack Sanborn advice gave me Sunday morning, worked out great. I don't think I was the one who gave it to you, so I won't take too much credit for that. But the guys that were surrounding me, I think it maybe Billy was into him a little bit more, or maybe it was Mace that was into him. But yeah, smash the like button, everybody. We're grinding every day. We're growing. Like I said, the biggest thing y'all can do for me right now, I'm telling you, I'm not making it up. Go to the link in the description. for the new podcast feed, subscribe to it, leave 5-star rating and review. Okay, that would be amazing. If like I said, even I said it yesterday in the chat, if 3 people do it, that would be incredible. There's 20 people hanging out. All right, moving on. Which 2 should you keep in Dynasty? Hamlin, Von Bell, or Cameron Curl? Hamlin is on the waiver wire. I don't have a bench space to keep all 3. I already have Jalen Thompson. Man, well, you got to pick up Hamlin. And we just spent some time gassing him up. We saw the insider information from the guys at Cover One. So, do you have to drop a defensive back? That would be my next question. And then how many defensive backs do you have to play? Because this is tough because you do have nice defensive backs. I understand why you would not want to drop any of those guys. But Hamlin on your waiver wire, that's a come up. Yo, Jay, Derek Barnes is available in my leagues. Is he a good sub for Rashawn Gary? Y'all. Especially if it's Dynasty, he shouldn't be on your waiver wire. Go get him. And like I said, Malcolm Rodriguez, his snaps went down a little bit this week. I think he was in like the 30%, 26%. Barnes got bumped up, had a big game. Anzalone continues to be the main guy, but I don't know if he's going to be around, next year. So from a Dynasty perspective, you definitely want James Barnes or Derek Barnes on your teams right now. Infinite possibilities. My cornerbacks, Miles Hartsfield and Bobby McCain are some deep CBs that I'm playing. I think they may be the NBs because of their tackle numbers. The nickelbacks, hey, yeah, that would make sense. And I think Bobby McCain plays some safety. I'm irritated with Devin White. I'm considering trading him. Thoughts? Don't do it. I mean, he was so close to like having a sack yesterday, and just if it's Dynasty, just hold him. Don't trade him now. You know what I mean? Just put him in your flex spot to make you feel better. It'll make me feel. I don't have him anymore, actually. I had him for a while. Shaz says, good names here. Got to move on from Nick Bolton and Redact after a quiet night. Really? What's your scoring like? Because I think he had multiple tackles for loss last night, and those should be 2-point plays, but accumulate to 4-point plays. If you're playing IDP 1, 2, 3, so I would have given you 8 points right there, and I know he had more than 2 tackles, right? You know what? You sit here, you run your mouth. Why don't you do something, motherfucker? That's what y'all are really saying out there. Oh, come on. He has 1 down game and you're talking about getting rid of him, talking about moving on. Look at what this man has done for you this year. 10 tackles, 10 tackles, 9 tackles, 2 sacks, 9 tackles, 9 tackles, 13 tackles, 10 tackles. He has a 3-tackle game and you out here talking about dumping him. Man. I got questions. Existential questions. Also, just picked up Hamlin in my league. My league are sleeping because his projection points are 0. Yeah, that's, again, projections are a double-edged sword. I said something about it the other day. I don't know if it was on the live stream Saturday night or yesterday. I wonder if people would pay for an app or like an app overlay or extension plugin where it would remove projections from everybody, because they end up skewing your mindset a lot, especially when it comes to starting and sitting guys. You'll literally see a half point more projection and you will suddenly rethink your entire life. Like, how is he not in my starting spot? Like, how did I do this? I thought I understood football. And then you get on things like Underdog, where TJ Hawkinson this last week projected 0 points all week. You drafted him for free. I did. I told people who watch the Underdog show, and listen to that to, keep an eye out for him, because his projection was 0. He's not going to play. He's out. No, he wasn't. I think he was tied in 3 yesterday. But because he was projected 0 on Underdog, which is a DFS platform, which, not DFS, but a daily fantasy platform we use, that's a come up, and projections hurt people because they just assumed, well, because he's 0, I won't do that. So if everybody's in 0, it kind of forces you to do more research, and maybe in a way almost evens the playing field by having no projections, if that makes sense. So anyway, but yeah, in the meantime, good on you for subscribing to this channel, and good on you for picking up Hamlin. That's exactly what Jeff Saturday. What exactly is Jeff Saturday going to do with the Colts? I don't know. I don't watch the Colts football team. They're kind of like the Colts and the Patriots game. I didn't even know what was happening. It was like blacked out from my mind because I knew it was going to be a dumpster fire. I say that I did have Sam Ellinger. Shout out to my Bash team that he destroyed. He didn't do it. A lot of other things happened, but I mean, when he didn't have like any points at the half, I was like, oh, okay, he's garbage. And I'm sure he's a great guy, great kid. And I mean, it was the Patriots. Mike Edwards lost me one of my matchups. Shaking my head. Sorry to hear that, brother. Drop in the link in the chat. Everyone else hit subscribe. I've tried this before. It never works when I try to put the links in here. Like, it just literally does not work. I'll try real quick. Let's see if I can. The links in the comments, like are in the description of the video. It should be clickable. I'm doing my best out here. In what tier do you have Zaven Collins? Is he legit or not? Ooh, y'all want to look behind the curtain, huh? You want to see what the Ultimate IDP Index says about Zaven Collins? You got to pay to play. Now I'm feeling nice. Let's see what we got here. I got him in tier 4 right now. And you're probably like, tier 4, what does that mean? So I'll just give you an idea of some guys that are in tier 4 around him. How's that sound? So, and I will let you know, tier 4 is a pretty big tier, okay? It's kind of a tier where it's like you can have a go up or you could go down pretty fast. But some guys I have in tier 4 include Cameron Curl, Jeffrey Simmons, Teron Johnson, Jordan Hicks, Chris Jones, interesting name in tier 4. So those are some guys that are in tier 4, not like huge, massive, like every week I got to lock them in per se, or even guys you're running out to get in Dynasty, but guys that are definitely making a meaningful impact for you this season. And will probably continue to do that for, a year or two forward, kind of is what I would say. And he could move up, And like I said, tier 4 is a pretty big tier. Tier 3 is kind of where I get to where, and I need to make a couple of adjustments here, some of these defensive line players, but that's kind of where I'm with guys where I think they're going to hold some starting value for multiple year-over-year value. Just to give you an idea. Aaron Rodgers is acting like an HOE today. I think the Lions broke his spirit. Yeah, that guy needs to get out of here. I mean, like, get his podcast going. He's going to sign with Barstool. Him and McAfee will make all. I mean, that guy can go write his check somewhere else. We don't need to see him. We got enough Kyler. We don't need any more of this bad attitude, win, cry me a river crap. I mean, if you're 13-3 last year and we take away one player, like I've said it before, participation trophy MVP. I need to go back and look at what his 13-3 record even was. Like, who did he even play last year? Because now I'm sus. I was probably sus even when they gave it to him, but I bet I'm more sus now. Sam shit the bed. It does work on my end. All right, excellent. DB question follow-up. My IDPs are Jordan Brooks, Nick Bolton, Sean Gary is a Darius Smith, Alex Highsmith, and Quincy Williams. We start 2 linebackers, 2 defensive line, 2 defensive backs, and 1 IDP flex. If I keep my DBs, who else do I drop? Shallow bench. I mean, if it's shallow bench, if you don't have an IR spot to put Rashawn Gary on, you honestly should probably consider dropping him, because the time between now and he actually puts any more points up is so far away that if somebody were to run out and pick him up today after you drop him, they're probably going to be in your same situation if you guys don't have an IR spot where they're just going to drop him later. So just keep an eye on him. That's my thoughts. Have you heard anything about Greg Russo? It looked like he got hurt and left the game. No, I didn't see that. I did my usual morning sweep of the, kind of the news and the notes, but I don't see everything, unfortunately. Dude, Grover Stewart, nice game. He's another one of those guys I plugged into that league where I plugged in Chris Barnes, where I was telling you all about that worked out. I put him in. He can be a guy that's going to be again relevant this year. Probably need to look into getting him into the index. Danico Autry was also looking pretty savage out there. Oh, wow. On the low, Rashaan Evans is killing it in my league. Solid 15, 20 every week. Yeah, we've been big supporters of Rashaan Evans for a long time. I wonder where I have him in the index. He's in tier 4. One of those guys, One of them guys. Where you don't want to be. You don't want to be in tier, you don't want to be in tier 6. Even tier 5 is pretty tough because I don't really see a lot of long-term value. And then, wow, tier 7, you're on the way out. Although I do have some guys that are, and that's the thing about IDP though, you get some of these guys that make these crazy come up years, where they go like almost radio silent in IDP land. There's like back end flex people forever, and then poof. I'd call him Marvin Jones, but I mean, even Marvin Jones was a consistently useful guy, even when he wasn't overly exciting. Hey, yo, hit the like button. Love the thumbnail. Thank you. Appreciate it. I hand make all my thumbnails, hand make all my graphics. Everything you see here, the overlay, the background with the little gizmo that's moving around. Keep an eye out. You'll see other fantasy creators doing this soon when they figure out how to do it. But self-taught, self-made millionaire soon. I'll stop asking questions. You can go back to the top 10 waiver prospects. We need to put those requests in tonight. Yeah, no, I mean, those are the main guys you see right here on the screen. I was kind of higher on Travis Gibson, but he really hasn't done too much. Even though his snap share has gone up, keep an eye on him. Peyton Turner for the Saints. Interesting to see how he does tonight, but he's definitely on a come up, young player on a kind of an aging Saints team. So yeah. Y'all, that's pretty much all I got for you for the IDP waiver wire show this week. Keep an eye, like you said, if you want freshly updated stuff, follow the IDP Army on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at 50 Shades of Drunk. I retweet our stuff there. Follow Mace, follow Bomber, follow Billy. You can follow Joe and Josh. They don't tweet much, but they tweet sometimes, so you give them a follow. Follow Iggy. Iggy's awesome. Follow on Twitter. Good dude. Recently joined the team. So there you go. If you guys want more look behind the curtain, join the Patreon. We got the Win Now Dynasty rankings. We got the best ball rankings. And we got the Ultimate IDP Index. Looking to add more stuff all the time. And please, my final request, again, link in the description. Go subscribe to our new podcast feed. That's going to be the primary host of the Dynasty Tailgate and the Best Ball Fantasy Sports Show, The Underdogs. All right. And here's a little disclaimer on why we're kind of doing this. Fantasy football, I say this all the time, like the game changes constantly. Best ball and Superflex, they're not afterthoughts anymore. And IDP is, again, it's not even like last man up anymore. It's the only one left. And it's even ascending, over year, more people are talking about it, more leagues are getting made, more people are getting into it, etc. But on the offensive side, best ball is becoming more normalized and more usual. Sleeper just added a best ball, or has had best ball for a while. But what I'm trying to say is fantasy football is changing as a meta. We're going to see a lot of people playing best ball this next year that maybe just dipped their toes in last year or didn't play at all. And with that, since we've been doing it 2 and 3 years, we've been putting out content on it, focusing on it. We're always want to be at the front end of everything in fantasy. IDP, we're on the cutting edge, I like to think. As cutting edge as you can be, really. But even best ball, too. I think a lot of guys and gals learned this year, are learning that it's easy to win fantasy football. It's easy to win all that stuff in the off season. But when the rubber meets the road, you kind of have to have a lot of conviction plays, and you kind of just have to find people that you trust and voices that you trust. and I hope that you can trust me because I share my wins, I share my losses. We do dunk on Kyle Pitts on the regular, okay? But I also told people not to draft Travis Etienne. You win some, you lose some. It all balances out. But we appreciate everyone that's here. Like I said, we have 4 podcasts now, 2 on each of the primary feeds. There will be some crossover from time to time. And we appreciate you all for being here. So I'll be back later this week with and I'm not going to do a ranking show anymore because my rankings are not the best. Okay. That's just reality. Go to IDPArmy.com. Check out Mace's rankings. They've been creme de la creme the last couple of weeks. He's a beast. Shout out to Mace. But I'm going to keep doing the Q&A stuff, and I'm going to do more of like a news breakdown and kind of maybe more matchup breakdown stuff, particular players that I'm more interested in, maybe guys I'm fading, instead of just doing the overall like arbitrary, these are my top 20 or whatever, because I'm not the best at that. You know what I mean? So I don't want to waste your guys' time. I'll give you what I am best at, answering your questions to the best of my ability, talking you through my process and the way I see things, and winning fantasy football. One last shout out to Anna taking down the 8-0 team in the Bash. We still plan on coming in first place, but tipping our hats, graciously losing. And like I said, see you guys later this week. Bye.